was a little Spanish flea, a record star, He heard of singers like Beatles, the Chipmunks, he
Welcome to the Game Plan Online. My name is Nick Dillon, this is Paul Mitchell, and it's finals time in Riverland Footy. We're about to preview the 2A grade finals and the prelim final for the Independents. So welcome, Mitch.
G'day, Dillo. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. It's finals time, mate. That smell of liniments in the air, and just you can feel the change in the atmosphere in town, can't you?
Yeah, that's right. Special time of year, and just the days are a bit longer, and just a good time to be playing footy. That's for sure.
Definitely. Now, two absolute ripping games of A-grade football this weekend. We'll start with the second semi-final. Now we've got Loxton North up against Berry. Now, both teams have performed really well throughout the year. North, obviously, their second half of the season has been fantastic. I think they're on 4 or 5 wins in a row, and looking good. So they've got Matty Lidgerwood to come back into the team, and old Pickles Arnold's in as well. But out they've got Brogan Whitelaw, which is a big out for them, and the ruckman James Searles. For Berry though, unchanged lineup, which is pretty good effort considering they played a pretty hard match the week before against Loxton, where everything was on the line. So Berry going in unchanged at this stage, which is great news for them.
That's right. These two teams haven't faced off since July. Is that right? Yeah. So since July. So that's a while ago, I guess. A month or so ago. So they'll both face each other reasonably fresh and. Yeah, look, as you said, on paper, the finals, I can't remember a more even finals season in prospect, because any team could beat any other team on the day without any surprises at all. And this game, it's almost impossible to tip.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at the 3 previous games between them, they've all been really, really close. Yep. I think North's won the last 2, I think, but there, and Berry got up in the first one. So, and Berry's just starting to get back to full strength now, as a North. So, I mean, like you say, it could go either way. I think you look on paper and Loxton North's team looks stronger. Maybe that's just because they've got so many guys that have been around for a while and played finals.
Well-known names.
Yeah, and you look at Berry, they've just got the job done all year though. Ryan Porter, obviously the winner of the Riders Award this week, which is fantastic for him. Guys like him and Pete Saff and Grady Obst and young Nick Hankin have been doing the job all year for them. So I don't know. I think Berry but out of Loxton North as well. So North get the home ground advantage, which is good for them.
Well, look, I'm going to tip North as well, but I will say this, that I saw Berry a couple of times this year, and it was during that slump that they had. So I obviously didn't see them anywhere near at their best, and they're obviously back to that form that made them 5-zip at the start of the year. Yeah. But you're right with Loxton North, when they have got some quality that we've seen over the years. They've got some new players this year, which have also topped them up. And I just feel like they've won 6 or so in a row now, haven't they?
Yeah, they're going pretty well.
Yeah, and a strange situation, in fact, finishing on top of the worst percentage of the top 4.
Yeah, it's crazy,
isn't it? Yeah. But look, having said that, now that Windy Hill, I think I will stick with Loxton North, but it should be a fantastic game.
Yeah, and watch for Lockie Henschke to have a big final series too. That's my tip. So,
yep.
The first semi-final on Sunday at Renmark. Mitch, you want to run us through that one?
Yeah, we've got Loxton taking on Waikerie. Couple of fantastic sides, and for one of them it's going to be curtains on Sunday, so this should really be a cracker of a game. Important in for Loxton, we've got Nathan Peterson-Gray. Weren't sure whether he'd play or not, but we understand he will. Josh Mann, and out we've got Craig Fisher and Nick Uren, which is potentially quite a loss for Loxton. Waikerie ins, we've got, you talk about quality, we've got Jim Thompson, Salim Hassan and Tom Truscott in. And out at this stage, Clark and McCaddy. So, Dillo, how do you see this one? Both teams jam-packed with quality players, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, Waikerie obviously pretty proven sort of side, won the flag last year, and the majority of those guys are still there. The guys that have come in have all done a good job as well. Amos Frank, Salim Hassan. They're quality players to come in. Loxton, mid-season, we thought they were going to just go through undefeated for the rest of the year. They were looking that good. Yep. Obviously got a few injuries along the way. Nathan Peterson-Gray's one. Ben Gordon had that knee injury for a little while. No Nick Uren by the sounds, which is they're going to miss his experience out there. That's for sure. As much as I'd love to see Loxton get up, I just think Waikerie, with all that experience that they've got, guys that played a lot of finals, I think they should be able to do the job.
Okay. Look, I've seen Loxton a few times this year as well. Very polished would be one of my observations of Loxton. They've got some experienced fellas who know what to do with the footy and don't panic. So that's on their side. But gee, the quality in that Waikerie side, you go through each line, and even if these lineups aren't spot on, you go through each line. There's just really good footballers across every line, and even on their bench, they're going to have some really good players. So, look, I think Waikerie will win, but what a game, and probably the first semi-final I'm looking forward to more than any I can think of in any other years.
And they've had history too over the past couple of years with their first semi-finals. The extra time fiasco a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There's one a couple of years before that where Loxton came from, I think it was 47 points down during the second quarter to win, which is huge. So Waikerie, they've got some demons there to get rid of against Loxton. Loxton have done a number on them a couple of times, so they're due for one.
So another one of those games where any result could come through Saturday night and we won't be shocked, will we?
Yeah, exactly right. No worries. So who did you tip?
Waikerie,
yep, same as me. Now, on to the... before we go on to the independents, we'll talk about the two teams that missed out. And we'll start with Barmer Monash. It was a disappointing finish for them, wasn't it? To be right in the mix at the halfway mark to fall away as they did. We think that they'd be pretty disappointed. And not just at A-grade level, I think across the board with only one team playing finals this season.
Well, that's right. We've got that club championship award in the Pioneer, Friday's Pioneer, and Barmer Monash last in that. And that would never have happened.
Wouldn't have happened in a long, long time.
Anywhere near last. From an A-grade point of view, remember we talked to Dingo at one stage, and I think they were third, and they had a couple of narrow losses. And we said to him at that stage, if they had gone the other way, you'd be in the top two, and possibly the top. And they've really dropped away, and I think they win 6 games for the year.
Yeah, I think so.
Six games. They'd be really disappointed with that. They had players out, but no more so than any other club.
No.
Loxton have had a lot of quality players out, and various.
Probably crucial times for Barmer though, when they really needed to win. They were missing vital players, I think.
Yeah.
Which certainly didn't help their cause.
No. So, look, they would assess this year as a fail, I would think, and they'll be looking to get back on track next year for sure.
So where to for Dean Sherman? Will he coach on next year? Do you think? Will he get the job again? It's a tough call. I mean, you only have to look at guys that have had a poor year one year, and then they've taken the team further once they've been given that chance. He hasn't had that real opportunity to put his stamp on the team. Craig Woolley, his first year in his second stint, missed finals. I think they only got 4 wins. Right. Next year they were right up there. So I think they were premiers the following year. So there is that opportunity there if they give it to him, I guess.
That's right, and I guess it'll come up to the committee members making a judgment call about whether they think he's the man who can take them forward, or whether they need to try somebody else who will have different ideas and a different approach. I know they're pretty hungry for success down there, so whether that has an impact on the decision or not remains to be seen.
The only guys that would be in the mix, do you think, apart from Dingo?
No, not off the top of my head. And look, if Dingo did coach next year, they may go looking far and wide for their next coach for some blood outside of the club, or they might look inward as well for past players or past coaches even. So look, your guess is as good as mine, but I do know they're hungry for success at Barmer Monash. So.
For sure. Now Renmark, obviously not the year that they wanted. 3 wins for the year. Especially after last year, it was such a promising rise up into the finals, and they fell away at the end of last year, which would have been disappointing for them. But then to fall away even further this year, injuries once again certainly didn't help Renmark. They probably of the 6 teams, they had the worst injury list.
Yeah, terrible run.
And to crucial players too, and that was probably the key for them. Obviously, John Persnos has stood down at the end of the last game. So they're looking for a new coach and probably a new direction for the A-grade team. What are your thoughts, mate? Personally, I think they'll probably look outside the club. They haven't had a coach from outside the sort of Renmark, not group, but that family. Renmark family for a long, long time. Brett Exerby sort of came in and was probably the best of the bunch when he came through, but he'd been there for a couple of years as well. So.
Look, I mean, Percy, well done on a great playing and coaching career, Perce. Well done. You would think they probably would. Now would be the time to look outside the club, look beyond their borders. You know, they've got some depth, haven't they, in the reserves?
Yeah, plenty of depth.
You know, the 18s are very strong this year as well. So you know, you wouldn't necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of hard work goes into every footy club every year, but you know, you would think it's quite possible that things could be turned around in a reasonably short period of time. That's what I'm trying to say. But not exactly. They're not going to a club that's in a shambles. They're going to a club that's, you know, got good numbers, and it's a big town here in Renmark. And you know, I think with the right person and a couple of well-chosen recruits, you know, it's certainly not all doom and gloom for the Rovers.
Yeah, and that's been a bit of a key for them, I think, over the years. Some of their recruits probably haven't lived up to expectations. Some of them have. Some of them have been terrific, but some haven't. And if they get some really good recruits, and like you said, the B grade, you know, there's a lot of depth there. I think the key will also be for the new coach to convince some of these guys, okay, we want you playing A-grade football and try and have a crack at A-grade football. There's a lot of talent there, but you know, a lot of, for whatever reason, haven't wanted to play A-grade football for however long now. So
yeah, that's right. Someone to bring the blokes together. That's not saying Perce didn't do that, but someone to get probably those blokes who could play A-grade footy out and having a decent crack.
Definitely. Now, so onto the independent preliminary final, Brownswell versus Ramco. Now, this one should be close as well, I think, Mitch. It could go either way. So the ins for Brownswell, this game's down at Wonka, by the way. Ins for Brownswell are Jason Berger, which is a massive in for Brownswell if he actually plays. Hasn't played all year, or played the start of the year, hurt his knee. Come back, done a fair bit of rehab, I think, and he was out there doing the water running for him on the weekend. So if he plays, it's a massive in. Callum Wall's another one, but outs Mark McConnell, James Fegert and Matty Wynn. So they've got some pretty big guys on the yard there. Those guys are away for work. For Ramco, they've got Derek O'Gorman and Brad Howell to come back in, and still haven't named their outs yet. So what are your thoughts, mate? You had a bit of a look at the Ramco game on the weekend.
Yeah, look, they were fairly impressive, pretty well drilled as you told me they would be. All seem to be doing the same thing at the same time. And their first, you tell me, but their first 10 looked pretty solid. And the next 5 were okay, maybe the last 5 dropped away a bit. And that might be the difference this week, I don't really know. I mean, Brownswell, I'm told, you know, this is the strongest Brownswell side we've seen for many, many years now. They've got a couple out this week, but it'd be a real shame if they missed the spot in the grand final after all the rebuilding they've done, and they've got, you know, some players back and bouncing along really well in the top 2 all season. And to go out in straight sets, it'd be a real kick in the guts, wouldn't it?
And it does hurt. I mean, it happened to us a couple of years back. We went out in straight sets with the best team all year, and it can happen. And nobody likes to see it happen, but it can. Watching Brownswell against Lyrup a couple of weeks ago, last week, they looked good for the first quarter and a bit. And then once Lyrup actually started to find a bit of space, they're all over them. So that lack of pace is a bit of a worry. They've got some guys there, they've got some speed though. How's
their fitness, Brownswell? Because the Ramco guys look like they could keep on rolling last week.
Well, Brownswell finished full of running at the end of last game, which that'll take some confidence out of it. You know, they kicked I think the last 3 or 4 goals of the match. You know, I don't think fitness is an overly big problem. It's more the just that lack of leg speed. You know, relying on guys like Brian Hampel, Matty Hampel, Jesse Smith. They're all big guys that aren't going to run around all game. So they need some big efforts from guys like Marcus Mao, Troy Braun, who was terrific last week in the second semi. Really gave him some real spark. Michael Reichstein, I'd love to see him play through the middle. He's been used off half back. Get him in the middle and let him have a run up there. And Brad Perry's another one that's back in this week as well. So you know, he could give him a bit of spark as well.
Yeah, well, they'll need someone to take care of Max Baddock, because you know, he's a dangerous player and he only needs to be on for a quarter. And there goes the match. So look, I haven't seen Brownsville this year. I've seen Ramco once, so hard for me to say. But just on Ramco's record versus Brownswell's record this year, I'll tip the Bombers.
I originally tipped Brownswell, but the outs for the Bombers are some big ones, and having come up against the Roosters last week, and you know, they didn't have their best game by any shot, but they still get up by 30 points. If they play some good football, I think they can get over the line in a close one.
Fair enough. Let's hope it's a close game and get the big crowd out to Wonka.
Definitely. So that's it from us. Make sure you grab your copy of the game plan today at the footy, $3.50, and it's got all the teams and everything that you need in there. So we'll see you next week for our independent grand final preview. Thanks.
Thanks.
There was a little Spanish flea, a record star, he thought he'd be. He heard of singers like Beatles, the Chipmunks,